My name is Robert Sormani. I'm the principal here at Chisholm Trail Middle School in Round Rock ISD, and I'm on my 6th year here. I feel very strongly that the principal should be involved in master scheduling. I know there are a lot of principals that shy away from it, and part of it I think is because of not understanding it. But the master schedule is really a reflection of what you value on the campus. If the principal is not involved, the principal is the one setting the course, then how are those values really being reflected in the master schedule? I think I'm probably a little too intimately involved with it because I think I kind of have this perverse enjoyment. It's like a puzzle figuring out. But essentially what my process is, I get everyone together, I tell them it's master sched time, start putting your requests and what you want, and it comes in two forms. One, I give everybody an individual opportunity to very privately tell me anything they want to. I don't want to ever work with this person again. I really want to work with this person. I don't like the subject I'm teaching. Is it possible? Can I do this?
I was going to say why Chris and I are so comfortable, and I'm comfortable with him coming in and taking over my class right away, is because we've been together 3 years now.
And essentially I create a hierarchy list of things I'm going to attempt to get done. Some things are, hey, if it happens to work out, great. Some things are, they shall get done. One, you put your resource classes on board first, pop them on there. And that's, again, one of those value things. Those kids have tough schedules. Usually they're in math and language arts. If you don't get them on there, they're going to have trouble getting in their class, and then you're going to have a mess. So you put them on there first.
We always try to keep our students in the least restrictive environment. If they do have to be pulled out of class, we try to get them back in as quickly as possible.
The main thing is just keeping them in the classroom. We don't want to single them out if not necessary. And so I think keeping them in the classroom with all the students, then we're able to help all the students.
What's the purpose of special ed? To teach kids to overcome their disability. And you can't overcome your disability if you're always sitting still in the same environment. You should be moving forward.
Keeping the students in the class as much as possible, and we move. We go where we're needed.
Because ultimately, what do we want them? We want them to graduate and go to college, if possible. Get out and get a real world and be self-supportive. There is no resource room in the workplace. You got to get out. My current model is we don't schedule the special education teachers in particular classes. What we do is we attach them to teams of teachers.
It really benefits the students because we're not locked into, I need to be in this class right now. We can go where the need is.
We're pretty lucky on this campus because our staff has been trained kind of in our inclusion model for such a long time. We really have a lot of freedom to do what we need to do and to go where we need to go.
If I've got stations going on but the LA teacher doesn't have a whole lot going on, then Gabby will say, well, if you don't need me, I'll be in her class most of the time to help with those students that need more.
The Friday team meeting, you discuss everyone's schedule so that way we're not stuck doing things that are kind of redundant or unimportant.
Every Friday, the default process is the teams reserve that time to meet with the special educator and sit down and determine what the schedule for the next week's going to be. Every general educator should have a general idea, at least, even if not done lesson plan, of what's happening the next week. Likewise, the special educator has an opportunity to talk with the other gen ed teachers 3 times a week, so it fosters a collaboration of what's best to do for these kids and all those kids. And you really also are focusing on the special educator not as a teacher of a content, but a teacher of kids. They become instructional experts, is what we call them.
Let's do our schedule next week. I have a test over history of Mexico next Tuesday, if that works for everybody else.
It would be a little bit difficult for second period and seventh period.
On a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday.
I can do 2nd and 7th.
Imagine a world where, there's that kid that's in the classroom doing nothing and has this particular disability. You spend 10 minutes doing research on what are some new instructional practices I could use. That, to me, is a perfectly valid use of your time. And guess what? That counts as minutes.
We're free to be adults and be professionals, but there is a plan behind what we're doing, and that directs a lot of how we act and how we teach, and I think that's real good for cohesion because you feel like a professional when you work here.
I read recently a good definition of what I've been doing is called defined autonomy. I define within this box you can do whatever you want to, use your best judgment, you have a degree, you're a teacher, do it.
The cool part about that is because we have our inclusion teachers rotating and we have that control over it, we're able to kind of incorporate those kids in with us now so that we're not losing anything.
Our goal is always to withdraw support to scaffold. We want they're going to get a lot more support in the beginning of the year, but hopefully by the end of the year, they're going to get less. Some of that is not just content, but just building school skills.
And what they end up finding out is a lot of these kids who are scheduled for resource class, they're functioning just fine. And they only need a certain level of support.
They actually call it the instructional specialist instead of just special ed teacher or the inclusion teacher or whatever. And it's because you're actually taking what's being instructed to the students and gearing it to their individual needs that they need help with.
When they come to an ARD, they know the student very well. The student knows them because they have also gone over paperwork with the student prior to the ARD and explained what was going to happen to the ARD.
You've got freedom of movement, so there's no excuse for you not to have data from every teacher and understand. Because since they're not scheduled into a place, they can literally walk around to every single teacher and say, on their comments period, say, tell me about this kid. And so we were getting really good information in ARDS.
Students gain so much from that because of the consistency, and the standards are kept the same. And the team is very receptive and just, they're happy to be a part of the SPED program as well. You know, they're not just saying they're yours or these are ours. It's, let's make them all successful.
For a kid to actually exceed and excel in that environment is one of the most gratifying things that any of us can ever do. There's two huge reasons for principals to pursue this. It's good for the kids and your scores in your school overall, and in the end it's good for each individual child to be challenged to the most you can do.